Tell me you're ready.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Once again, as always, I'm your host, David Burrows, on to episode 132. Hope you had a great weekend with Mother's Day and mothers. Happy Mother's Day to you all. Well-deserved. And I got to spend some time with my mom as well. There she is, wondering what I'm doing with my phone there. So, but we had a nice visit and some good laughs. So once again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. All right, well, I got getting lots of emails and questions about this one. Indiefest. Yes, some changes have occurred, and we're going to fill you in on right now. The Stubborn Mule has temporarily closed. They've decided for different reasons to reformat and come out back once again with a bang. They're going to reopen, probably under a new name, etc. Live bands. That's all the details I can give you right now. But Indiefest will happen. We've canceled the May 24th date. We took those bands and moved them onto the June 28th and July 26th date. So June 28th will be round one, Battle of the Bands for Indiefest, and here's who we have picked for you to enjoy. From Sarnia, Powerhouse will be there competing for $1,000, and Blue Davin's Code from Quebec City, all the way from Quebec, coming down here to participate in the Battle of the Bands. Excited for that. Time is a Hymn from Chatham, Ontario. They're ready to rock it out and show off their stuff. And also from Sarnia, Catacomb Castaway. So once again, that will happen June the 28th. Doors will open at 7 and it will start right at 8 o'clock sharp. Tickets are only $5. They'll be available down at Cheeky Monkey and some other places as we get closer to the date as well. We'll be keeping you up to date, and all the information is also available at indiefest.ca. And once again, this Indiefest Battle of the Bands is in support of Harmony for Youth and Kids Help Phone here in Sarnia, so stay tuned for details. All right, well, let's get out into the entertainment scene. We're going to go down to Cincinnati, Ohio, and visit this young lady with a beautiful voice. She is a jazz singer, and she's going to talk to us about how she got started and where she's been and now where she's planning on going with her talents. This is Samantha Carlson, and she joins us online via Uvu from Cincinnati, Ohio. Take a look at this, and then we'll be back with more.
Your birdland, that's what I always hear when you sigh. Never in my wordland could there be ways to.
Well, this week on the show for our music scene, changing genres up again, as we always like to do around here. I like to keep it interesting, and this story here is definitely an interesting one. We're going to go into the world of jazz. And this young lady, 25 years old, making some big waves in the jazz world. She is originally from New York, but joining us from Cincinnati, Ohio. This is Samantha Carlson. Hello, Samantha.
Hi, good to be here.
Thanks so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule. You seem to be doing well at keeping busy. Let me just start off to get to know you a little bit for our viewers. I mentioned you're 25 years old. Typically, I would think to stereotype, if you will, that someone your age would be more into the pop world and different things. Typically, not a jazz genre. What made you go that route? What is it about the jazz that you really enjoy?
Well, when I was about 12, that's when I discovered the standards. And, you know, in jazz, I just heard a CD one day of all the Italian standard singers, and I knew that it was for me. So I knew right then and there that was the kind of music that I was searching for. And I knew I always liked to sing, but I couldn't ever really figure out, you know, what kind of music that I had a passion for. So, again, at 12 years old, that's when I discovered that music speaks to me because it was different than anything else I had ever heard, because it has true meaning. It reaches, you know, deep in the heart, and, you know, I could really feel that the music and the lyrics. So it will always move me, you know. Even though I've grown fond of other types of music, you know, the standards and the Great American Songbook and jazz, right. That is where it always will hold a special place in my heart.
So what were your influences? Who were you listening to?
Well, my influences, they started, you know, with my parents. They both sing and they're musicians, so I kind of grew up being in music in general. But as I got older and I started listening to artists that I really liked, first I started with Patsy Cline and the Carpenters, and then as time went on, like I said, with the Italian singers, Dean Martin, Jerry Vale, Lou Monte, Louis Prima, but the first one, Dean Martin, who I mentioned, he was the one that influenced me the most. I fell in love with him in every way possible.
You've done a lot of performances in a short amount of time. What would you say the most memorable experiences have been so far in your career?
Well, basically, I'm going to start from the beginning, like small things, like my very first recurring singing job. When I was 17, it was a small Italian restaurant. That kind of gave me my start and really gave me my experience. And then I would also say when I joined my first band, which happened to be an 18-piece swing band called Swing Time Big Band here in Cincinnati. And I had kind of been hoping to find maybe a small trio or something to start doing the jazz. But I found them. I should say they found me. And their female vocalist was just leaving that month, so it was a perfect fit. I went right in, and I loved that band.
A bit about making of your latest Day In and Day Out, and we're going to show part of that video here. Sum that up for me real quick, just what that experience was like getting together with these, these great musicians that you've been able to align yourself with.
Well, on this album, they actually happened to be all the professors, the jazz professors that were at the school that I graduated from, Northern Kentucky University. So it was a collaboration. And the piano player, who was also my professor, he had suggested we do this. And I could not be more thrilled. I was like, wow, that's really an honor that he chose me to do this with. So he approached the other, I think three other musicians, and that were also professors there, and they were all excited about it. So I tell people that it's more like a live performance because we didn't really rehearse it too much, except for the fundamentals that we had to know, but it was very much improvised, and that's what made it pretty special. The thing, and I want to tell people this too, don't give up on your dreams. Because sometimes it may not seem easy, and it isn't. But if you keep on pursuing it, in one way or another, you will get somewhere. And so that's what I'm going to do. And whatever happens will happen. I'm grateful for the journey that I'm on, and I'm looking forward to what's to come ahead.
Those are wise words coming from a young lady like yourself, and you're already doing it. You're on that journey, and we're very thankful, appreciated for being here on the show. Thank you so much, Samantha Carlson, for joining me on the show this week. You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Samantha Carlson joining us here from Cincinnati, Ohio, and we're going to share some of the making of Day In and Day Out, and then we'll talk more about Samantha on the show. Watch this.
Tony Bennett once said that you should not emulate a singer, but rather emulate an instrument. I believe that. I grew up singing the standards, and so performing jazz, singing jazz was a natural progression.
Never in my wordland could there be ways to reveal in a phrase how it feels. Have you ever heard two turtle doves bill and coo when they love? That's the kind of magic music we make with our lips when we kiss.
And that's Samantha Carlson, a very talented jazz singer, joining us here on the show. Thank you, Samantha, for your time. And be sure to check her out online, all the social medias. And Samantha said she'd keep in touch with us. She's got some more projects coming up underway, and we're looking forward to having her back here on the show. So, Samantha, once again, all the best to your career, and thanks for being here. All right, now let's go out into the community. Of course, Sarnia is celebrating 100 years. Lots of events planned to celebrate 100 years here in Sarnia, and we were able to get some time from Mayor Mike Bradley. And we talked about where the city has been the last 100 years. Of course, Mayor Mike Bradley being our mayor for 25 years. And I noticed the last Wednesday, May the 7th, when the activities were down at City Hall to celebrate the birthday, that Mayor Mike got a little emotional, and we talked a little bit about that. So here is a very intimate and fun interview with our mayor, Mike Bradley. Take a look at this, and I'll be back with more. Well, this week in the community, we are excited to be here at City Hall in the Mayor's office. Of course, Sarnia is celebrating 100 years, and joining us here, Mayor Mike. Hi, Mike.
Thanks very much, Dave.
Thanks so much for being here. The celebration's happening this past week. Obviously, lots of planning going on and lots of activities. I happened to notice it was quite an emotional day for you.
Oh, definitely.
And for many reasons, I'm sure. But explain what was going through your mind at that time.
Well, you're thinking 100 years of history as a city, and 25 of those years that I've been the mayor.
Right.
The second part of it was Lieutenant Governor David Onley and I have worked very closely together on his cause, which is access for the disabled and employment for the disabled. Right. And he's the first disabled lieutenant governor. So he made a special trip here for the day. And so that combination of things, and also just watching the outpouring of support and respect from the community for this celebration. The council chambers were jammed. There was over 3,000 people that came through the open house in the afternoon, and I got to meet hundreds of citizens who wanted to visit the office where we are right now. So it certainly was emotional, and I think it's good for a city to celebrate its past, but more importantly, this was about the past, but about the future
What's
too.
happening with the future? What any special reflections that you're thinking about when all this celebration is occurring?
I think the big reflection is how we've changed. When I first came with my parents to this community, it was a one-industry town, and a very good industry for the community. It gave people good jobs. But times changed, and we became a global economy. So we've started to shift the economy. We respect what the existing industry provides to us, but we've moved into biofuels, alternative fuels, solar farms. We have a research park. We have a very strong college. So there's been an evolution, and I also think there's been a movement away from apologizing for being from Sarnia to accepting the fact that you should be very proud of that. And that's what the celebration was about, to say that we have so much to celebrate. And that was the message I was trying to get out to the community.
Yeah, well, it certainly is coming across well, and the word community often comes up with you and many people. And would it be fair to say that I think Sarnia is probably one of the best communities when it comes to a community coming together?
Well, a phrase I use perhaps too often is collaborative.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. It wasn't that way 20, 25 years ago. I don't think it was anywhere close to what it is today. But you have business, labor, First Nations working together. Because what do we all want? We just want a better life for ourselves and for the next generation. So I've seen much more of that level of cooperation. And on Wednesday, when we celebrated, that was very, very evident, particularly with the participation of the Amshnong and the Amshnong children.
Yeah, that was great.
And it really was that was really about the future. Yeah. And the young kids we had from London Road School. So we were celebrating that we hopefully are leaving them the ingredients for them to build on.
Yeah, for sure. Would you say you're getting any rest these days?
Well, I mean, it's always a roller coaster, right? Yeah. I've just come from King George School, speaking to the grade 4 or 5 class. Been over at the Emergency Preparedness Day. We were kicking off a new notification program for the city, so we can tell you if there's a tornado coming, or if there's a problem in the valley, or whatever. And that's just a typical day. I've already done a couple other things in between, and we're now just at 11 o'clock. Right. So it's always exciting. There's days that it's going to be very grinding. There's days that you have bad days too.
Challenging.
Yes, and sometimes you have a good and a bad day all on the same day. Yeah. But that's what people experience in their own lives, right? So it's only a bit different in my case because it's so public. When through the media, what's going on in my life.
For sure. Any final words, Mike?
Well, as I said on Wednesday at the Centennial, when people think about the future, just dream no small dreams for Sarnia.
Right. Okay. Mike, thank you so much for your time. We're here at City Hall, Mayor Mike Bradley, and we're going to go back to the studio now and talk some more about Sarnia 100 celebration. Mayor Mike Bradley, thank you for spending time with us here in the show. And not just spending time with me, actually, my son Jason came along. We kind of made it a Friday afternoon field trip. And you see Jason there sitting in the mayor's chair with the chain of office around his neck. Mike was kind enough to give us more time after the interview and talked about many of the collected items he's gotten over the years that are in his office. Lots of stories to tell. And we're really, really grateful for Mayor Mike's time here on the show. Thanks again, Mike. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you some more as more events happening for Sarnia's 100th birthday. If you want to find out more of the events that are happening, check it out all online at sarnia100.ca. All right, well, now there's lots of local events happening here in Sarnia, and local event time. So here we go. Take a look at this, and I'll be back to wrap up the show. There's some of your local events happening here in Sarnia, and if you'd like your event to be here on the show, send it to me 2 to 3 weeks in advance to the show at davidburrows.ws, and I'll be sure to get it up here. Or if you'd like to be here on the show, that's the same way to send it to the show at davidburrows.ws. Speaking of local events coming up, very excited about this one. I will be broadcasting, live streaming, if you will, from Rock and Roll Pool Hall. There's a pool tournament happening Friday and Saturday, May the 16th and 17th, here at our local pool hall, Rock and Roll, which is down at Maxwell and Christina. And if you want to watch and see some great shots, check it out online at davidburrows.ws. Once again, I will be broadcasting live all weekend starting Friday night about 7 o'clock. And if you want, stop down and say hello to me in person. I might have some stuff to give away. So looking forward to that. I'm a big fan of pool, so I'm not that great of a player, but depends who you ask. But anyway, looking forward to that for sure. That's all the time I got for you. Please take the time to visit my website and like me on Facebook and enjoy the weather. That's what I'm really excited about. I'm going to get out of here and start getting ready for some garage sales. All right? That's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend, and I will see you next time right here on the show. Bye-bye for now. Here we go.